that comes in 29th in the country overall in field goal percentage and inside ASUN play at 53%. EKU in the white uniforms wins the opening tap in front of the U end of this arena, built back in the early 60s, and the Lipscomb bench. Johnson guards Robb, screen by Madigan. Puts on the brakes, handoff Lewis. 10 on the shot clock. High screen again, Madigan. 6 on the shot clock. Drive Lewis to the cup and missed it. It's batted out long, and Beverly saves it in at half court. And then we have got a shot clock violation because the ball did not hit the rim. And as the two teams scrambled at the dividing line, it will go out to the Bisons. Now, if you know sports and you follow football in particular, Bison is the way you say the name for North Dakota State. They say Bisons here for Lipscomb, a school just south of Vanderbilt and Belmont in the beautiful part of Nashville. Private Christian liberal arts school. All right, Doug, down into the corner to their shooter. And that's too long on the right side for Will Pruitt. Left side rebound, Robb Lewis. Feed it baseline left, Blanton. They run a double for a moment at Blanton. Out to Lewis, deep three, no good. Oh, great hustle through to tap a rebound to Madigan. Left of the lane to right of the lane by Blanton. And then a shot deep by Beverly missed. So the Colonels taking those long balls and missing them. Blanton, left side, Lewis. Now down on the baseline to Baligan, working in on their star player. Dipping under, and what happened there? I think he lost the ball out, or was it touched out? Touched out by a Bison's player. It'll be EKU 9 on the shot clock. Nobody's drawn iron yet.
Well, that's your matchup to watch.
Lob it into the foul line with a hand in his face. Blanton from 15, good. Tay Blanton gets the first two of the night. And on this homestand, the second of 3 games, first lead for EKU. They were beaten start to finish by Jacksonville State. Drive in, blocked by Baligan, but body. And he was leaning in when he got the block, 13 in white. Knocks down 13 in black in Parker Hazen as we take another look at the foul by Baligan there.
Yeah, he came over just a little bit late to help and just not there in time.
Feed right corner, Pruitt. Pruitt brings it up top to Johnson, their point guard. Now back top of the key to Jones. 11 to shoot, inside baseline, nothing. Now back up top high, Jones. Robb cuts him off to Pruitt. 5 to shoot, drive, left wing to Johnson. Corner, Pruitt shot it right ahead of the shot clock from 15, no good. Robb his second rebound off of Pruitt, miss. 2-0 EKU. Robb, crossover dribble, drive, jump stop in trouble in the lane. Backdoor cut to Lewis, dropped it on the baseline, saved it. Got it back up to Beverly, and EKU resets beyond 2 minutes in. In front of the bench, manned by Lenny Acuff in his 3rd year, the head coach for the Bisons. 5 on the shot clock. Blanton drives through 2. Into the corner to Robb. Fake with 1 on the shot clock. Let it fly in time. Missed it. Baligan had a tap, but into the hands of Greg Jones for Lipscomb. And here they come to Pruitt. He's been on the hot streaks, averaging over 15 the last 3 games. Got it back, shifts his way left on a pass to Johnson. Out high to the big guy, and he hit it inside the loop. It's good by Asanjalu. Asanjalu with his first 2 to tie it at 2.
Well, Asanjalu has a chance to get that ball out there, and he got the ability to stretch that defense a little bit for his size. That's really effective.
Beverly to Blanton. He dribbled it off his foot, runs it back down. Good defense by the Bisons early. Here's Lewis in a 2-2 game, 3 minutes in. Left flat in front of the Lipscomb University bench. Robb circulates. Corner to an open Blanton. Blanton misses the 3. At EKU, opening 0 for 4 and 1 of 6, and that is a constant theme at ASUN play for EKU. Shooting very cold to begin ball games and throughout games. Well below 40%. At 37% on the year in ASUN play. Backdoor cut, and Lewis cut it off. They tried to go high-low to Hazen. Here comes Lewis driving around the big man. Tipped into the corner to Beverly. Out high to Blanton. And the first 3 of the night. Good ball movement by EKU. And Blanton has all 5 for Eastern Kentucky at a 5-2 lead. They had the break there, but Hazen didn't take it on in. Now the spin in the lane. Lewis to help, and they still got it into the hands. Back to Asanjalu, and he put it in with power at 6'9", 275.
Well, Asanjalu did a good job just controlling that ball in traffic.
Beverly spins down the lane right to the baseline on Pruitt. Into the corner to Lewis. Hand in the face three. Good. Out of the left pocket by Lewis.
That's twice they've attacked and gone along the baseline to reverse the ball.
8-4 Eastern Kentucky, and draping the back of the driver in backcourt Johnson is rough. Shot, they're 1-7. Watch that part of the stat sheet tonight. Osajala in backcourt to Clark, who's come in. This is the first entrance to Quincy Clark, and a steal. Here comes Lewis, and he got bumped by Hazen as he got under the goal. So Eastern Kentucky's defense causing a bit of problem for Lipscomb. They've made 2 turnovers. Again, they've made turnovers more than their opponent, all but 2 games this year. That's been their problem.
Right, and this is a real test for them as far as facing someone that really pressures the ball at a high level, and that's EKU. There's
Here's
great
that steal.
anticipation by Kurt Lewis right there, jumping in the passing lane and taking it in to draw the foul.
They are not a high fouling team, but Lipscomb, much to the fact that Osajala is so good inside, they get to the foul line second most in the country and third most makes. Lewis, who's had a up and down year from the foul line, he'll have hot streaks and cold streaks. He misses that one more coming. He's now 20 of 34 in the year, about 7 percentage points below his career average here in his third year as a Colonel. Second year on the court after sitting out his first, got the second one. And Eastern Kentucky opens a 9-4 lead. Here comes that full court pressure. Blanton. Brown has come into the EKU lineup. And across the timeline near side, Johnson tipped away to backcourt. And then Brown got a hand on it again and got it a third time and stole it to Beverly for a quick three, no good. Beverly's had a couple of let it fly here, and then Brown and Balogun had a trap on the corner off the miss, and Jones in the corner had it tipped out by a Colonel. 9-4 Eastern Kentucky. They're 2 of 7 on threes.
Boy, great hustle by Jamari Brown right there to create that turnover.
Brown with career steal number 159, 7th all-time in EKU history. Here comes Quincy Clark off the bench, we told you moments ago. Out to their point guard Johnson with 77 assists on the year to Osajala. Osajala feeds it into the corner to Clark. His three no good. Backside rebound to Brown. Eyes up across the timeline with a right-handed, now left-handed dribble to the head of the key. One hands it to Lewis, splits 2 into the lane, bounces it to Beverly into the corner and right through the wickets. Croquet-like to Tay Blanton. Blanton says, I need a breather. He will come out. Michael Moreno will come in. Moreno, who at one point was the Colonel's leading scorer, has not had a double-figure game the last 9 games. Also, Beverly is leaving, and Rashard Cruikshank comes in, the 5th-year graduate student through Garden City Community College. 9-4 EKU, and with the ball into Brown. Brown, A-Sun, first-team all-conference preseason, coming off the bench this year. Dropped the dribble, got it back, looking for a shot baseline against Pruitt. Working, turning him, 8-footer, no good. Pruitt to rebound. He's had the top rebound. Oh, nice no-look pass into the corner to Murr, who just came in. And good by Tommy Murr out of Athens, Alabama. The all-time leading scorer in Alabama high school history. 9-7 Lipscomb, and an offensive foul. Cruikshank. No, they called it on Moreno.
Yeah.
Away from the ball. The illegal screen on Moreno, his first.
He just left his spot just a little bit too early there. And if Eastern doesn't know it, Murr is a catch-and-shoot deadly shooter.
Eastern Kentucky makes the steal by Cruikshank out to Moreno. He makes up for a foul on the Cruikshank assist. 42nd on the team, and Moreno only 3 of 20 on threes the last 5 games. Here's a foul by Balogun, or is it on Cruikshank reaching as they beat the pressure off the Moreno 3, and it was Cruikshank trying to help Balogun at the end of the transition by Pruitt, and he'll go to the line for 2.
Well, that was a big call right there. Balogun could have easily picked up his second foul right there. And we got Aaron Bennett getting ready to check in.
Get Eastern Kentucky playing without Jansen Williams tonight in street clothes. Trying to recover from an illness along with a knee injury. So here's Aaron Bennett, who, like Williams, transferred from Marshall. Balogun good minutes in the first 5 minutes, 55 seconds to the bench. First foul shot good to make it 12-8, now down to 12-9 as both go. The first 2 of the night for Pruitt, who shoots 79% from the foul line, 16 for 16 though Inside ace on play. 12-9 Eastern Kentucky. Head of the key, Moreno, right side, 18-footer, leaves it short, but Robb bats it out like a volleyball player to Cruikshank. Cruikshank back to Moreno. Moreno says, I need you to come get it, and Cruikshank does in front of the Lipscomb bench. 13:40 first half, EKU by 3, elbow 15-footer, no. Robb battles, and they called a foul on Robb.
Well, Cooper Robb has really been aggressive going to the offensive glass. He's really usually good about running down loose balls. Here's another look at it. Both players going for the ball, and they said that Cooper Robb just got a little piece of the arm on the rebound.
Robb kind of flailed his hands up on his second foul at 13:34, and I think his disgust was the fact that it was a free ball for both players, and Robb got called. Ignacevic is into the ball game. Ignacevic, a 6'7" freshman, second year, transfer from Valpo, played a lot, especially when Osajala was out of the lineup with the injury, and he's got it on the baseline right. Back to a shooter who's driving in Hazen. Now into the corner to Pruitt, and his three will not go. Rebound by Lewis, who's done a good job of the boards tonight, along with his teammates. They've out-rebounded by 3. A deep three missed by Lewis, and run down off the hands of a teammate by Pruitt. Down by 3, Pruitt. Top of the key, and they give and go to Hazelin. Around Bennett, easy pickings there as Hazen got around Bennett and brings it down to a 1-point game. 12-11 Eastern Kentucky at 12:45. A ticking clock here in half one. Eastern Kentucky never behind, one tie at 2. But just 4 of 14, below 30%. Moreno, good look at a 3, and he's hit 2. And after going 3 of 20 the last 5 games, he's hit a couple tonight, trying to fight his way out of a deep slump. 15-11 Eastern Kentucky. Corner right, Pruitt. Will Pruitt out of Mount Juliet. Round to the left to Clark, who's come off the bench. Weaves his way inside. Bennett challenges, but Clark yo-yos the dribble to the glass and good. On the left side, 15-13 EKU. Moreno one-hands it to Cruikshank. Cruikshank drives to the foul line. Steps back, hand in the face, 15-footer, no good. Rebound by Hazen. Hazen out of Columbia City, Indiana. Underneath 12 minutes in the first half, down by 2. Lipscomb, chance to tie or go ahead for the first time. Here's Clark, left of the keyhole, down low on a baseline cut, turning Pruitt for the tie, bottoms.
Boy, he is such a solid player for them. And they say as Pruitt goes, Lipscomb goes.
First team All-Stater, averaged over 21 points his senior year in Mount Juliet High School, tied for the second time at 15. We were tied at 2. Cruikshank, hands off Brown. 2 Bisons getting ready to come back in on the under 12. Off, nice pass by Brown. Reverse layup missed by Moreno. Chance to go ahead. Here comes Murr. Inside to Hazen. Hazen on the baseline left. Lobs it low, and a bad pass stolen by Cruikshank. Tried to get it low to Ignacevic. And a turnover by the Bisons, their 5th. Deep 3 and another miss for Eastern Kentucky. 4 of 11 from 3, 5 of 18 overall. Still a 15-15 game. We've played well over a minute below the under 12. Now 3 Curdles and 3 Bisons getting ready to come in. There's a nice drive and to the line. Looking for their first lead is their backup freshman big guy. And he's short on the first, Ignacevic, 78% shooter.
They're going to be shooting the bonus the rest of the half because Eastern's already committed 16 fouls.
1 foul on Lipscomb. Again, the second most foul shots of any team in the country. Ignacevic gives Lipscomb on a 6-0 run their first lead of the ball game, and our first leads with 17, or make it 16-15. And they're in the zone. What do you see, Doug?
Little 2-3 zone right there. Real active hands on the perimeter.
Beverly back in, Blanton back in, Balogun back in, into Balogun, and a foul, bringing the arms down. Osajala out of North Clayton High School in Atlanta. Watch it here.
Well, Balogun just positioned himself what they call the dunk spot just outside the lane on the baseline. He got hit pretty hard. He's holding his left shoulder.
They're going to check on Balogun again. EKU playing in that 5 spot with Jansen Williams out tonight in street clothes. They have him. They could go also to Michael Wardy, who did not play last game. And they could also go to Iron Bennett, who can play short minutes. 16-15, EKU down 1, now tied is Balogun, who shot the ball well from the foul line his first sophomore year. Now it is third year overall and his second sophomore, the free sophomore year. Not as good this year, but perfect on both of those. And so we've had our third tie and our second lead switch, 17-16 Eastern Kentucky. 10-20 in the first half. Johnson feeds it out right side to Ignacevic. Down in the corner to Pruitt. Pruitt back up top to their point guard Johnson. Away from the EKU bench. Balogun out after him. Into the corner to Pruitt. Here's Ignacevic. Trying to bounce it low and did. They got it back out to Pruitt. Shooter, 3-ball, bottom of the peach basket for Will Pruitt, who shoots 37%, and he's had a good ball game. 7 for him.
Well, that's what Asajala does to you. He draws that defense inside, and then he's a willing passer, hits the perimeter guy for the easy look at the three-pointer.
40th assist, second on the team this year, Asajala. He had a big assist, 94 assists last year, bad pass baseline. Lewis tried to thread the needle along the end line, stolen. Forecourt Johnson, his team up 2. Johnson drives around Crookshank, spins, batted away by Balogun. Stolen by Lewis, quick hands for Balogun. Here comes Kurt Lewis, driving into the body of the defender, banks it, scores it. Backing away was Ignacevic, and Lewis ties the ball game. He has now scored 6. They try to run transition, and it's overthrown for another turnover by the Bisons.
Lipscomb has been real aggressive in their early offense, and that was after a made basket. They were still looking to attack.
3 lead switches, 4 ties, 19-19 with 9:09 to go. And the clock moves. 9's wild there for a moment on the score clock. Brown back in for Eastern Kentucky. Lewis out, Beverly back in. Catch and shoot 3. Boom, off another Brown assist. Beverly's first 3, 252 in his career, number 4 all time at North Carolina State. They got a trap in backcourt on Pruitt, but they made it just in time to Jones back in. He'll rise, a 2-pointer from 18, no good. Rebound by Blanton. 22-19 Eastern Kentucky. Blanton drives. Defender falls down and quick hands. Great by Asajala. Asajala with a quick hands to stop a drive to the rim.
Yeah, he was put in an awkward position right there. Blanton turned the corner and almost to the rim. Asajala able to knock that ball out of bounds and save a basket.
There you see A.W. Hamilton directing his team defensively and setting screens. Played at Wake Forest and then Marshall. Start Scott County High School up the road. Into Beverly. Beverly, jab step, step back 3, no good.
He just didn't have the feet set right there, trying to rush his shot just a little bit.
Beverly comes in over 1,000 points, 3 1,000-point scores in their careers on this EKU team, like Asajala. And here is Balogun walling off, getting the block. Balogun, number 4 in the A-Sun. He's played well the last couple of games. Brown penetrates, rises from 10, short, slaps his hands off the miss. Rebound by Ignacevic. Underneath 8 minutes we go in the first half. 3-point lead, and Beverly a steal. Ripped it away in front of his own bench from Pruitt. Here comes Beverly. Beverly fakes to the left, throws it low to Balogun through a teammate. Balogun! They have their 2 big guys in, and Ignacevic along with Asajala. And here's Balogun, who has 4 tonight. And he's 3 for 3 from the foul line. Tariq Balogun, who is playing in his 15th game, his 3rd start for Eastern Kentucky, game number 19 of the year.
Eastern 2-2-1 press right now off the made free throw.
Across the timeline, down the right, drive in, blocked by Wardy, who just came in. So Wardy, who is a Leapers, had 20 dunks of his 33 makes this year with his 11th block. As the Colonels playing again by committee in the 5 spot with Williams out tonight. Balogun gets a breather on the bench. Moreno back in as well. Into Asajala. Asajala up top to the new player in Tommy Murray. Hit that 3 earlier, and he'll try one from deep. Missed it back iron, but a flying rebound by Pruitt. He and Beverly crashed to the court. And they're going to say over the end line, it'll be out of bounds off the body of Pruitt. Boy, I like the way Pruitt plays. His mom, Angie, played volleyball at Tennessee Tech. His brother, Trey, played football at Austin Peay.
Well, I had a chance to talk to Coach Acuff before the game, and he was bragging on Pruitt, just what a solid player he is, and he's just a winner. He does the little things that you don't see in a score box at the end of the game. But
you saw on that replay, just ran out of room there on the end line.
He was going for it.
Here's Beverly, thought about a three, backs it away. Beverly drives, tipped away, but shoveled it out to Moreno to avoid a turnover. EKU on an 8-0 run here, as they've come from 2 down to 6 up. 4 to shoot. Brown knows it. High screen, or does he? Just ahead of the shot clock, and they say no. Too lackadaisical there, wasn't he?
Yeah, a little late to get started. He's called for a ball screen there with about 5 seconds to go, but he just kind of drifted away from it and then had to shoot oversized.
You can see the deep breathing of Braxton Beverly out on the court as you take a look at Jamaro Brown. And Beverly, he's had to use a little inhaler at times coming off the medical pause, and here's a reach-in foul on Brown. Shot clock violation on one end. On the same end, defensively, a foul on Brown, his first. And 1-1 here for Lipscomb. 7 fouls at EKU, 3 on Lipscomb, and that's nothing new. Their third lowest foul total in the country at below 13 a ball game. And they'll put a 65% shooter at the line in Quincy Clark. He played at Westerville Central in Ohio, who's on a state runner-up team, and he hit it.
Well, one of the most analytical things you can look at in a basketball game, field goal percentage is number 1, and number of times to get to the free throw line is another big component in whether your team's successful or not, and Lipscomb does an excellent job of that.
3 minutes, 10 seconds without a point before that foul shot by Clark, and both of them go. And Lipscomb from the foul line, 5 of 6 tonight. That stops the 8-0 Eastern Kentucky run, makes it 25-21 home team. Eastern Kentucky in an arena that has seen basketball now for 59 years. They're 5-12 and 252 here, 7-4 this year. They won 23 of their last 30, but it's been a little tougher this year. Back in that 2-3 zone, Beverly attacks it around left through Brown to Cruikshank, 15 to shoot. Back to Jamaro Brown, has played some point guard. Wardy, a dangerous pass, but he threaded the needle on a bounce to Moreno. He turned wide open, 8 for Moreno. Wardy gave him the key to the goal, and he put it in. They got a double team in backcourt. They throw it off the legs of Brown. It's a new player in Trey Benham out of Concord, North Carolina. So that was Concord, North Carolina, throwing it off Raleigh, North Carolina's Jamaro Brown.
Yeah. Great attack there by Eastern on that 2-3 zone attack from the short corner.
And Tanner Schulman, also a coach's son, into the game. Here's Clark to the baseline, to a cutter coming to the goal, and Tommy Murr lays it in. Pretty play.
Well, you can't ball watch against Lipscomb. They are deadly with back cuts.
27-23. Eastern Kentucky. Moreno, catch and shoot, wing 3, missed it. Eastern Kentucky now 5 of 13 on threes. That field goal, the first in almost 4 minutes for Eastern. Wardy walls off, and the shot no good if it was a shot at all. Retrieved by Beverly of EKU to Cruikshank. Cruikshank to the elbow, passes it up to Beverly. Beverly down the lane, dumps it to Wardy. He got hooked on the arm, laid it in, nice give. And Wardy put it in, and the foul on Asajala. Asajala here with foul number 2 of the night.
Yeah, good things happen when you get into the paint with the ball, and that time Beverly able to draw the defense and just dump it off there to Wardy for the finish.
A.W. Hamilton, the coach of Eastern Kentucky, as you take a look at the kid out of Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska. It's a little snowy here in Richmond, doesn't bother him.
You talk about a leaper now. Wardy can jump out of the gym.
Played at Peru State and then to a junior college, misses the foul shot, but Eastern Kentucky got the rebound. Blanton to Lewis, who's returned. So Lewis, Brown, Wardy, Blanton, and Beverly. Beverly hopscotching his way with a dribble drive. Top of the key, Brown. Good look at a 3, no good. Rebound by Blanton offensively. Lost it, leaps in the air, but it comes into the hands of Murr the other way. Jamaro Brown is now 0 of his last 10 from 3 over the last 4 games. Nearing the 5-minute mark, Schulman missed it, a 3. Rebound pulled down by Blanton, the leading rebounder for Eastern Kentucky on the year. That's his 3rd rebound of the night, and it is an offensive foul to push off on Wardy as he knocked down Murray, who had position in the lane as Wardy was trying to set a screen. It'll be a turnover and an offensive foul here.
You know, the pick and roll caused a switch right there, and then they just got tangled up in the lane. I really didn't see a lot that Wardy had done to warrant a foul.
Just looked like legs got tied up.
Yeah, exactly.
The official saw the knockdown and called it on Wardy. So a tough whistle on him. And Lewis went for the steal, couldn't get it away from Benham. Benham down the lane with athleticism. And the left-hand lay-in by Benham. He exploded. 29-25 Eastern Kentucky. Inside move by Balogun, back in for Wardy, and he turned and hit it from 8. This is a Tariq Balogun that EKU fans have not seen all year long. 31-25. He played so well last year. New player in Coleman. They've gone to a lot of new players here as we near the under 4. Here's Coleman, handoff to Clark, who came in early in the game. He turns and hits from 8 in the lane. Clark, a first-year true freshman. His best game, 9 against Miami of Florida. He has 6 already.
Well, he's got great change of direction.
Beverly over to Blanton. He'll take an unguarded 3 and knock it down on yet another Beverly assist. Beverly says, I need a breather, as Blanton has a total of 8 tonight, a pair of 3s. Left corner to try to add to it. It's good. He wears 3 for a reason. He's Trey Benham out of Concord, North Carolina, Concord Academy. So they answer back. It's 34-30, Eastern Kentucky. 3.5 to go. Beverly driving. He'll shoot over the man who just hit the 3. Balogun got the offensive rebound. Tip back to Lewis. Down low through Beverly to Blanton. Turns in the lane. He short arms his shot. Wanted a foul on Benham. Didn't get him. Benham, a nice job on both ends of the court here. To Clark. Clark behind a moving screen by Coleman. Left side to Murr. Whip it back to Coleman. Coleman feeds it out right wing. There's that shooter again, and he hit it again. Trey Benham. He comes in averaging 3.8. He has 8. And how about Quincy Clark and Trey Benham? And they average between them 6.4 points a game. They've already scored 14 tonight. Cruikshank, Moreno, Balogun, Lewis, and Brown. Pick and roll to Balogun for the dunk.
Oh, a great slip of the screen right there by Balogun. Moreno found him on the open duck end.
11th dunk of the year, 31st of his career. They got Pruitt in a trap, but he got out of there leaping and throwing to Clark. Left wing Coleman. Coleman's 3 no. Balogun goes for the rebound, but it's stolen away in midair by Benham. And Benham with his second double-figure game, the only other game double figures, gets it on D1 team Tennessee Wesleyan. 36-35 Eastern Kentucky. Late in the first half. Here's Lewis, a deep 3. Swishing cord as he shot it right over Pruitt. Lewis up to 9 points tonight. Both teams filling it up. 39-35 Eastern Kentucky. Colonels had the longest run of the game at 8-0. 6-0 run a couple of times here by the Bisons to respond. Here's Coleman. Coleman comes head of the key. One hands at Pruitt. Left side of the hot shooter in Benham. Benham inside. Nothing there, but standing on the sidelines at the end of the EKU bench, receiving the catch for a turnover. Quincy Clark on their 9th turnover of the game compared to 5 by Eastern Kentucky. Points off turnovers where Eastern Kentucky is number 4 in the country, and they're there again tonight so far, Doug. They right now have a 15-4 advantage in points off turnovers. 11 on the plus side there, plus 4 on the scoreboard.
Well, a key you always have to watch when you play Eastern Kentucky University.
At 648 points off turnover on the plus side of the 4 years, Hamilton has been the head coach. Lewis stepped back, right flat 3, no good. Late to follow his own rebound, and then came back and ran over the guy who got the rebound in Ignacevic. Ignacevic, the Valparaiso transfer out of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Here you see Lewis, and just didn't follow it quick enough, and when he went back to, just ran out of room and a little minor bump in there, enough to draw the foul and put a 78% foul shooter at the line in Ignacevic. 2-time ASUN newcomer of the week.
He's a 78% free throw shooter, so he's getting it done in a lot of different ways for them.
First one good. He's made 75 of 96 coming into tonight. 26th in the country in makes. 33rd in Division I basketball in attempts, and he's 2 of 3 tonight. Got them both.
Well, that shows you how active he is with the ball.
39-37. Eastern Kentucky used to be in the OVC. They saw Belmont, Lipscomb. Belmont had that battle of the Boulevard, so close together as schools. And this team a little bit like Belmont, the way they look, the way they play. Different style, but still, here's Brown doing the same thing that the other team did on the other end, catching a pass, not on the playing court, on the sidelines. Turnover on Brown, turnover number 6 on Eastern Kentucky.
How often do we talk about that play, Greg? Seems like it's at least once a game. 2-2-1 by Eastern right here in the press.
Of all the games we've covered this year, nearing about 20, I think we've seen a game only once where somebody wasn't out of bounds when they received a pass. Good drive inside, a great offensive play by Brown. He got a jump ball, but as he reached in on his number made 11 in black, Quincy Clark tied him up. And then the possession arrow will give the ball back to the Bisons.
Yeah, he was beat off the dribble and just out of desperation went for the ball, able to tie it up.
On the inbounds, tipped away, but right into the hands and going in, blocking, and a dunk attempt is Balogun. Up to Brown, back to Blanton. Oh, pretty play by Brown. Balogun started it all with a rejection inside. It is 41-34. Eastern Kentucky under a minute to go in the first half. Balogun's been big in this ball game. Colonel's in a 2-3 zone. It's rare they play it, but they're in it now. 15 on the shot ticker. 40 to play in the first half. EKU on their home court by 4. First ever meeting with the Bisons. Driving around Cruikshank, stepping back for a long two-pointer. No good by Benham. Rebound by Blanton. And the shot clock goes on vacation. Shot clocks take vacations in January.
I think they earned one.
All right, we're down to 41-37 and the shot clock at 14. Here's Cruikshank. Reaching out, defense by Murr. Cruikshank and a little foul on Murr, but that's only their 5th. So Murr gives up a foul, his first. Again, this is one of the lowest fouling teams in the country. The 3rd lowest foul team in the country.
Well, they've got one more to give. Let's see if they use it.
The officials ordered A.W. Hamilton to get back. He was not out of the coaching box. Must have been a foot out on the court or something. Of course, we're used to Travis Ford used to be the coach here. He was way out on the court when I watched the St. Louis game the other day. Cruikshank, a high dribble. He's in trouble. They foul again. So they're employing the foul strategy here to discombobulate EKU. Take it now. Now the next foul would be 1-1. We're at 3.3. What kind of play do you run here with Brown inbounding?
Well, you got Balogun underneath. Maybe they could throw a lob to him. Moreno is really crafty. See if they get the ball to him on a shot along the three-point line.
They put a square of players around the paint here. Moreno talks to Balogun for a second. They run in 2 new players in Jones and Coleman. A lot of rotation in the lineup for Lenny Acuff. 3.3 in the first half. EKU by 4. Brown to trigger into Cruikshank. Cruikshank drives right ahead of the shot clock. He's just the way they started. Robb picked up 2 fouls in the first 6.5 minutes of the game, so he didn't score in the first half. Ballot scoring for both teams. Here's Beverly with 6 assists already. The North Carolina State transfer to Blanton. A couple of dribbles right of the keyhole. So they go wall in, takes it in, had it partially blocked. Balogun kept it alive for a moment into the hands of Will Pruitt. Pruitt now around to Asajula. Off to the left to Jones in front of his bench. Back left and now low to Asajula. They double him. He feeds it back out left side. Jones 15 to shoot over to Pruitt. Good ball movement by the Bisons of Lenny Acuff. Down to 8 to shoot. Hazen, good feet inside of the big fellow. They got him double, triple team. Looked like Blanton tipped it away, stolen Beverly. Bisons get back off to Robb. So another turnover. Turnover number 10 of the night on the Bisons. Robb, handoff, Blanton. Second year freshman, gets it back from Balogun. Nobody scored, first minute of the second half. Beverly flips it off to Robb. Good look at a 3. Beverly already 7 assists. And Robb gets in the scoring column. And Eastern Kentucky equals its biggest lead. 44-37. Left corner 3. Jones for the answer, no. Balogun fights for the rebound, but couldn't beat Asajula to the corner. And Asajala the offensive rebound, and they'll reset back to him. Back to the basket, off to Johnson. Johnson feeds it into the big guy, and Asajala missed it. As Balogun enough to stop it, but an offensive rebound. Now Jones a three, rattled the iron and out. And great hustle by Pruitt, but threw it off his own body, in front of the student body, just back on campus from a long, we didn't have long winter breaks like they do now. They were gone for over a month, almost like a month and a half.
Yeah, it seemed like it was about 3 weeks maybe, but not 6.
I think my mom and dad kicked me out of the house after about a week. That's back in the old days. Two old guys here called it a game. 44-37, EKU by 7. After that 3 to open. And that equals their biggest lead. It was by Robb on a Beverly assist. Bad pass, Robb trying to thread the needle to Balogun. Turnover, Robb coming the other way. The Bisons with Johnson down the lane. Off the glass, no, but Asajala the rebound. His second offensive rebound of the second half, but he has 6. Balogun had a swipe at it for a moment. Beverly out of Vico, Kentucky. Behind the back, dropped the dribble, but maintains it now. Pruitt inches out on him, 16 to shoot. 17:30 to play, over to Lewis. Left corner 3, left wing 3, good by Lewis.
They call that shake action right there, off the dribble penetration of the screen and roll.
Biggest lead of the night at 8 for the home team. Around Lewis, Jones to forecourt to the lane, but Balogun back tending goal. Jones will back it away, and they'll reset. Johnson now high to Asajala. And a whistle away from the ball, and I believe a hold on Lewis. It is. Looked like down on the left side, he gave an arm or kind of a fender into Greg Jones away from the ball, and that is 3 on Kurt Lewis, the 6'5", third-year redshirt freshman who has 12 tonight, including 3 threes.
He's been really playing well tonight. Moreno comes in to give him a break.
Moreno in for him. Pruitt struggling to get it in. Robb goes for the ball, tipped it away for the intended receiver. Runs out of room, so he'll shoot from the right corner and miss. Boy, nice steal by Robb, but couldn't complete it. On the steal, the 3 off the right flat. Good thought, but it just wouldn't go for a double-figure lead. A good float and fire down the lane. No good. Blanton the rebound. Off the running miss by Johnson. Blanton to the trailing Robb. Robb almost walked with the basketball, but he rolls it into his hands to Beverly. Beverly jab step, backs it away. Eastern Kentucky's played a little bit better team basketball. Low to Balogun for the lay-in. He's fouled. Beverly going for a dime of dimes tonight. Boy, he has really been the point guard he was made out to be when it came to EKU tonight. Beverly's been tremendous.
Yeah, look at this pick and roll in the replay here. Balogun just made a real strong roll to the basket and then finished with contact. Pretty pass by Beverly.
And for Tariq Balogun, only the 6th time in his career that he's been in double figures in his 3rd year as a Colonel. And he's equaled his season high, 2 away from his career high, and he rolls the foul shot in. But the story here has been the point guard play of Braxton Beverly with 9 assists and 3 points. Last Colonel to go double figures in assist was Wendell Green, who's now a guard at Auburn, the number 1 or 2 team in the country through the transfer portal. Here's Clark to Asajala, top half foul circle. Right side Jones, biggest lead at 11. They got around Moreno. Balogun fouls. After that was a pretty move on the baseline right by Hazen. Parker Hazen beat Moreno, and Balogun fouled to deny him a lay-in.
Well, here's the back cut by Hazen, and then when he got shut off by Moreno, he just went straight to the post and got good position. Good spin move on the baseline there to get to the foul line.
Here's Hazen. Well, I thought when it left his hands, he was leaning as though he may have left it short, but it's bottom of the peach basket. Hazen has 3. Just a 58% shooter. There you see A.W. Hamilton talking to Pat Blake, the scout coach. Second one no good. Moreno had the rebound tipped away. Quick hands of Pruitt, but runs it back down. Up to Blanton. Tough run to the goal. Missed it, but Hazen back to fouling.
Well, that's a great hit-ahead pass by Beverly right there. You know, a point guard can bring the ball up on the break with a dribble, or they can hit ahead, and a nice pass ahead to Blanton, and he was able to beat the defense down.
Blanton to the foul line for 2 tosses. First, good. So Blanton in the game. now sitting at 9 points.
And there's that hit-ahead pass we were talking about.
Let me say 11 points officially. Misses the second. So Blanton at 11. At EKU's lead at 11. 51-40. Good play teams. Of course, the OVC, where Eastern Kentucky left after last season, 73 years, a founding member. Hazen misses the foul shot. If you want anybody at the foul line of their mainline guys, Hazen has their lowest total at 58%. 51-42 EKU after the Hazen bucket. One Colonel with 3 fouls and Lewis, 3 others with 2. Moreno deep 3, straight away, way off, but Ballaghan tipped it through the lane to Blanton, and then Blanton couldn't control it. Ballaghan with a gamble there to tip the ball alive, but Moreno the miss at Eastern Kentucky. 2 for 3 now on threes this half. 9-20 for the game. Coming out of a deep team shooting slump, 29.5% from 3 in their first 4 ASUN games. Lipscomb with the ball, right now down, backdoor cut again, tipped away. I don't know if Ballaghan or Beverly hit it, but the Colonels come up with it. Another turnover, the 12th of the night on the Bisons. Made turnovers more than their opponents, all but 2 games this year. Here's Beverly. Just 1 shot to go, but he's assisted. Rob drives, steps back, tough 3, hand in the face, peach basket. Don't know if they'll give Beverly an assist on that, but he got Rob open, and Rob's hit a pair of threes at EKU, 3 of 4 this half. Biggest lead now with a dozen. Skip pass to the right side to Pruitt. Pruitt to 3 the other way, good.
Yeah, watch the movement away from the ball when Asajala has it, because they've been double teaming him and it's leaving some people in the perimeter open.
Moreno tries to answer with a 3. Straight away right. Good by Moreno. And Beverly was given an assist, so 10 assists. First double-figure guy since early January last year at assists. Pruitt, nobody stops him. Ballaghan walls off. Shot goes in for Pruitt. Ballaghan kept his perpendicular move there, and Pruitt has a dozen. Hitting that 3 moments ago. Pruitt keeping them close, 57-47. Eastern Kentucky. Biggest lead at a dozen. 4 ties, 4 lead switches. We're down near the 14-minute mark. 3 Colonels and 1 Bison getting ready to come in. It is Benham for them. Wardy, Brown, and Cruikshank for Eastern. Beverly with 3 on the shot clock. Hunting a shot, finds it, banks it, misses it. Goes off the backboard. It was a rebound right before the buzzer. Here comes Pruitt driving on Blanton. What a play by Pruitt. He is Willingham. 14 for the tough player out of Mount Juliet. The second-year freshman, it's down to 8 again. And Pruitt, along with Hazen, have been the reason why. EKU has neutralized the Sajala tonight. Down to 13-20 in the game. Beverly, oh, good screen, Ballaghan. Nothing to do. Rolling off of it, Moreno. When you hit threes, Beverly gets a cache full of assists. He has 11, and Moreno has come out of a shooting slump. Quickly to forecourt. Pruitt's got it from a teammate. He missed the 3, comes to the top of the backboard. Added 13 minutes in the game exactly. 60-49 Eastern Kentucky. Mike Moreno is 4 of 7 from 3 tonight. Put it in perspective. It's his first double-figure game since December 4th against Western Kentucky. His 9th of the year in 19 games. And he had been 3 of 20 on threes the last 5 games. 3 of 20s, 4 of 7 tonight.
Well, they're doing a good job setting him up, and he's taking good shots. His feet are set, his shoulders are square.
Eastern Kentucky in the weave with 3 new players in, Cruikshank, Brown, and Wardy. Playing without one of their starters, Williams, tonight with a knee injury and health issues. Right outside the lane, Moreno pulls up from 15 over Pruitt. Moreno hits.
Well, he got the switch, and he went to the baseline there to get the mismatch.
14 for Moreno. They run the break and find Benham, and he answers again. That's the 3rd 3 of the night for Benham. 1 away from his career high of 14. Here's Brown. 62-52 EKU. Deep 3. Moreno goes over the top of the backboard, and the tangerine leather stuck up there with a shot clock. Like they're on a date or something.
They're going to have to get the broom handle out and knock that one, because I don't think anybody has the vertical leap to get it.
Yeah, Darnell Hillman, my favorite ABA Indiana Pacers, not around to go pluck that out with his leap.
You know, they used to say Wilt Chamberlain for agility drills, they would put silver dollars up on top of the backboard and he could go up and pluck them off the backboard.
I used to hear the same story about Darnell Hillman with a $20 bill.
Well, that'd be a little more worth it.
Yeah. 62-52. I grew up, back in the 60s as a kid. And my favorite announcer was Jerry Baker of the Indiana Pacers, tremendous announcer. But I liked the ABA back then better than the NBA.
ABA was so exciting and innovative, that the first to use the three-point line, they had the red, white, and blue ball. Here we go again.
All right, 12-17 to go. Eastern Kentucky, can they close out this game? They've struggled in close games, 1-7 this year. Brown a reach at half court. Just tried to go for the steal and got the body of Clark. Gambled and got caught. 62-52.
Got to stay disciplined. That's 14 fouls on Eastern, and what you don't want to do is start sending Lipscomb to the free throw line. 2
fouls on Lipscomb for the ball game. 13 on EKU, 8 on the Bisons. Here's Clark. Good screen by Asajala. And then blocked by Wardy. Third block of the night, fifth for the team, but it comes out to Benham, and he knows. He thought that three was going, missed it.
Shots on great ball movement tonight. There's a lot of good screening action going on away from the ball, too, so keep your eye on that as they develop these plays.
One of 5 games in the A-Sun among the 12 teams tonight. EKU just one of 2 teams without an A-Sun victory. They sit at 0-4. Lipscomb at 1-3. Both teams a little surprising with their starts, but long way to go. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Brown to the right of the keyhole. Stop and go dribble. And saved by Robb after it was tipped away with 5 to shoot. He's bumped by Clark. Drives in. Tough runner. And he airballed it, and it'll be a shot clock violation. Robb got decked there. He thought it should have been a foul. No whistle came, and we'll go the other way. I like the way the officials have called this game tonight, and Will Howard, along with Joshua White and Chase Shaw, they've let him play, and I think it's been a very well-officiated ball game.
Cooper Robb got bumped a little bit right there. Played through the contact, just not able to get the ball up on the rim in time.
62-52, biggest lead, 12. It's 10 now. They run by with Murr to forecourt. He'll wait to the trailer to Asajala. Now they'll return it to their guard, Jones. Haven't seen much of Johnson tonight. Clark's played more. Feed it to Asajala. They triple team him. Murr picks up the dribble, 12 to shoot. Over left side, Jones. Now to Asajala. Wardy tipped it away, and he pushed him and got him on the arm. Get Eastern Kentucky has thrown Blanton along with Wardy and Bennett for a moment in the first half at Asajala, and they've held him down to 6 points tonight.
Well, if you're going to stop a superstar, you've got to have help. Not one person usually can shut someone down, and they've done a good job double-teaming him and getting the ball out of his hands.
11 minutes, 4 seconds in the game. Asajala out to Murr. Speeds by Brown. Balogun walls off. Lenny Acuff wanted a foul. Now Brown takes it into contact, tipped away, but Balogun there to pick it up and put it in. Tariq Balogun with a new career high. He has 14. 64-52 EKU by a dozen with 10:42 to go, and Cruikshank with a body bump at half court. Good call there. Cruikshank got him in the body, even though A.W. Hamilton, with a wry smile by Cruikshank, come out and said, hey, got shoved off on. Cruikshank will have to play D. 6 foul on EKU. There have been 2 called on Lipscomb this half. Stop and go dribble Clark. Brown Hawks with Balogun. They shoot over Balogun, no good. And what do we have here?
I think they may have gotten robbed.
Yeah, they did. Robb pushing for rebound position apparently, and so now Robb with 3 fouls.
Here's the replay right here. You can see Clark just kind of snaking his way to the basket, and I think they got Robb pushing off on the rebound.
So here's your foul situation. 3 fouls on Balogun, 3 on Robb, and 3 on Lewis. Let me back it up. 2 on Balogun, 3 fouls Lewis, 3 fouls Robb. On the other side, 3 fouls on Hazen, who had a good start to the second half. First foul shot good. Cut it down to 10, Murr, and he rolled it in. Murr, the second most points in high school basketball in the history of our nation at over 5,000. 5,000 716. Are you kidding me?
That's unbelievable.
Played since 7th grade on his high school team, but so did Braxton Beverly of Eastern Kentucky. Good drive by Brown. He wanted a foul. No harm, no foul. And didn't hit the rim off the backboard as he drove in. Oh, nice pass. Nothing there. They'll kick it from outside, from inside outside. Murr on the give by Benham. He missed the three. And up by 10 with 10 minutes to go, Eastern Kentucky giving Beverly a rest, and we have a foul inside as all of a sudden, as that call on a hold by Benham, the officials have kind of tightened the game up both ways.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened to the old hook and hold. We were talking about that the other day, and the referee kind of used the hook sound right here. Here's the replay. Just a total mismatch inside there. Balogun had good post-up position.
I like the way Trey Benham has played tonight off the bench for the Bisons. Lewis back in with 3 fouls. Blanton back in. We got another foul. So the Whistles have taken over here for the last couple of possessions, and that will be a call on Ignacevic. Ignacevic with his first here, and there you see it. He hooked over Balogun. Balogun with his best game as a Kirtle. Out of the corner, Brown a 3, no good. Lewis, an offensive rebound. He muscles and falls away from 12, gets a kind roll off the back flange and in. Kurt Lewis with 14. Eastern Kentucky with 3 players in double figures. Moreno with 16, Lewis with 14, Balogun with 14, Blanton with 11. So 4 double-figure players. Deep 3, a little short for Ignacevic. Rebound by Cruikshank right in front of us. Good save by Murr. Steal away from Cruikshank and a beautiful spin, whirling dervish to the goal off the turnover by Hazen. He has 7. 66-56 Eastern Kentucky. Cruikshank to make it the biggest lead of the night. Sack. Cruikshank gets his first field goal of the night, and it's 69-56 EKU.
Well, he's been so solid for the Colonels this year.
Benham drives on Lewis with 3 fouls. Lewis tipped it away, but back into the hands of a teammate and out high to Clark. Clark goes to Benham. Lewis reaches. Now back to Clark. To the elbow, to the foul line from 15. Front rim, no. Good offensive rebound. And a reverse block by Balogun, his third of the night. And a rebound pulled down by Tate Blanton. Colonel's running up by 13. Blanton Euros around the defender, flips it up, misses it. But he'll go to the line with 8:33 to go. I don't think there's any doubt, Doug, that the stars of this ball game are Tariq Balogun, 5 of 5 from the field, 4 of 4 from the foul line, 4 rebounds, 3 blocks. As you see Blanton get a slight bump there by Murr. And on the other side of the ledger, as far as assists, the guy getting a long breather on the bench, getting ready, is warming up to come back into the ball game, Braxton Beverly.
Yeah, those 2 guys have been key tonight. And Kurt Lewis has come on here, had some key rebounds, and been really efficient offensively.
And after no double-figure games over the last 9 games, 16 for Michael Moreno tonight. He had not been in double figures since the narrow loss at Western Kentucky back on December 4th, over a month. Eastern Kentucky has expanded the lead to 14 as number 14 and White's at the line to make it a 15-point lead, and Blanton has done it. Well, we told you Eastern Kentucky, 7 players averaging between 9 and 11, and they've all contributed tonight. They lead by 15. In a game of 4 ties and 4 lead switches, 8:22 to go. Here is Murr. Down inside, good turn as he gave it to Ignacevic. And a foul to Colonel and Ignacevic with his first field goal.
Ignacevic here got good post position on Lewis. He went for the steal, and then that left the basket open. Balogun tried to come over and help at the last second, and they called him for a little contact.
His first field goal of the night. He's 3 of 4 from the foul line, looking for .6 out of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. And a foul shot good. Well, this is a team that has had leads in Lipscomb and let them go. They were under 14 minutes to go, up 20 at Jacksonville State and lost by 5. They're down 12 on the road as we near the 8-minute mark with plenty of time. Beverly rolls off a screen. He hit the 3. Beverly has had a pair of 3s to go along with a double-figure turnover game, and it's back to a 74-59 home team lead. Ignacevic, step back, 3. Over Balogun, no. Rebound by Hazen, and he missed the chippy at the goal, and a rebound pulled down by Blanton. Blanton now has 9 rebounds on the night. Lewis a 3 quick, missed it. That's one you'd like to have back. You've got the under 7 minutes 55 seconds. The game was knotted for 3:30 in the first half. Eastern Kentucky's gotten great contributions by 5 players tonight, led by Baligan inside, blocking 4 shots, not missing a shot, and 12 assists by Beverly, and Eastern Kentucky in that rare 2-3 zone. Driving Murr to the elbow, back to Asajala. He misses the shot. Been a tough night for Asajala. Now 3 of 5, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers. Here's Beverly, right wing to Cruikshank. Beverly 1 away on assists from equaling the high this year by an ASUN player. Lewis yo-yoing the dribble to the baseline, in trouble. Found Beverly out of the corner. He hit another 3. Beverly a point away from a double-double the assist way. At Eastern Kentucky, 77-59 by 18. This is a team in Lipscomb that came in 1-3 in the ASUN. EKU looking to leave North Florida the only team without a victory in the ASUN 5 games in. Murr's 3 no good. And it looks like the string has run out on the Bisons tonight with 6.5 to go, unless they can find magic. Robin Moreno to come in for Eastern Kentucky. Benham for Lipscomb here at the next break. Beverly rolls off a screen, shoots way off to the right. Rebound, Blanton. He's in double figures in rebounds and running out of room trying to save it, Murr. Blanton has had a big rebounding effort, a double-double, 12 rebounds, 13 points. And again, Beverly 1 point away from making 2 Colonels with double-doubles. I don't know the last time that's happened.
You know, it's a thing of beauty when you see a team clicking on all cylinders, and EKU has finally got it together tonight.
I guess I was snoozing. It happened against Eastern Illinois this year. Here's Moreno out of the corner, left side on the inbounds. Again, Eastern Kentucky left 29 seconds on that shot clock. Had a good inbounds play, just couldn't get it to go. Down to Asajala. Oh, great backdoor cut. He had a double team. Nobody checked the guy running right baseline, and Hazen put it in. He has a total of 9-7 this half. It's a 16-point game. 77-61 EKU. Beverly comes left side. Blanton cuts through away from the ball. Tracked is Beverly by Pruitt. 12 on the shot clock. Beverly to the left. Beverly to the foul line. Beverly back to Moreno. Could it be the 13th assist? No, Moreno misses. Got to have those shots to go in to get assists. Here's Pruitt the other way from Jones, who had the rebound. Back to Jones, out to Asajala. He's way off with a 3, but running down the rebound is Hazen for an offensive board to Asajala. Off to their shooter, Benham. Benham misses the 3. Eastern Kentucky tonight on threes, 50-33. Meanwhile, just 6 of 22 for the Bisons. Underneath 5 minutes we go in Richmond. 77-61 EKU. Biggest lead 18. Biggest deficit 2. Led for all but 4.5 minutes of this game. Pick and roll to Baligan for a jam. The best game of Tariq Baligan's 3-year career. He has 16. And it's the 13th assist to tie the ASUN high that Tavian Dunn-Martin for Florida Gulf Coast had. He had 13. Deep 3, no good by Jones. Rebound, Baligan. By the way, the most assists in college basketball this year, Montana's Cameron Parker with 20. Beverly will walk into forecourt. This is just the medicine that A.W. Hamilton and this team needed on a 4-game losing streak. In all 4 of the games they lost. Here's Moreno to the foul line down the lane. Step the pass to the corner to Blanton, no good. Rebound fought for, and Pruitt down to his shoelaces to get it. 79-61 home team, 3:48 to go. Pruitt straight away 3, and he put it in. Moreno welcoming television back. Robb comes to forecourt as Lipscomb tries to turn up the pressure, down 15 near the 3.5-minute mark. Here's Beverly, and he gets a hand check foul. Going to have another timeout because we just had The under 4 will take it with them. Back again, 79-64 EKU. Tonight's Madison County EMA CSEP player of the game is Braxton Beverly. Madison County EMA CSEP can help you prepare for an emergency. Learn more by visiting MadisonCountyKY.com/EMA. Madison County EMA CSEP is your partner in preparedness. What a ball game that Beverly has had. A total of 9 points and 13 assists. You've got a double-double from Tay Blanton as well. Blanton, 13 points, 13 rebounds, career high 16 for Tariq Baligan. 4 Colonels between 13 and 16 points. They lead by 15. Alley-oop to Wardy, and Wardy's 21st dunk of the night at Eastern Kentucky, up to 25 assists tonight, 6 away from their career high and their high of the year against a Division I. At a reverse dunk, slicing right, left to the baseline. On a gift from a teammate, and Hazen is in double figures for the 8th time and 4 games in a row. That was a pretty one. Back-to-back dunks, 81-66 EKU, and we're underneath 3 minutes at the 2:54 mark.
Lipscomb going for broke right here with their defense because they're going to trap in the half court, try to create some turnovers, get the possessions up where they may be able to crawl back in this.
EKU with just 7 turnovers tonight. Their lowest of the year was 6. Well, let me go back and double check that. 7 against Southern Cal. Deep 3 by Beverly, no. Tipped by Wardy, got it back off the backboard himself. And then we have a jump ball, and that'll go to Lenny Acup's team. 3rd year. His record, after he replaces Casey Alexander, went back to Belmont, where he was a player and assistant to the Hall of Famer Rick Byrd. Now we'll go to 39-40. 22 years head coach at Alabama Huntsville. Airball 3 and touched out by Moreno. Off the bench by Benham with 2:27 to go. 81-66 Eastern Kentucky. Here's Benham again. Benham another 3. You wear 3 for a reason. You get that chance when you hit 4 threes in a night. 16 for Benham here tonight.
Still not over.
Benham was 16, Pruitt was 17, 81-69. It's getting closer, down to a dozen. It was at 18 with 2:05 to go. And here's Moreno throwing it along the baseline. It was kicked by one of the defenders for the Bisons inside, as the Colonels were cutting a shooter to the goal with 2:04 to go. Shot clock rekindled to 20. And Beverly to toss with that 13-assist game to equal the career high by anybody here in the ASUN this year in a game, equaling a Florida Gulf Coast player. But Beverly 1 point away from a double-double. Blanton's already got one with 13 and 13. Blanton's in the corner. Blanton drives, throws it right wing. Rob's 3 good. Eastern Kentucky out of their deep slump. 16 of 36 tonight. Shooting the ball well, 84-69, and that'll about do it. Here's Hazen faking Moreno. Skip pass to the left-hander Johnson. Boom, Johnson.
Not noted for his three-point shooting, only 26.5% coming into the game. Knocked that one down.
He hadn't scored all night long. Came in averaging almost 13 a game the last 5. Down to a minute 17 to go. 84-72 EKU. The Colonels will go 7-1 when they score over 80. And when they outshoot an opponent, they'll be 8-1. And 1-8 the record for Lipscomb when they get outshot. And they have been outshot 45% to 43.5. Here's Beverly for a double-double. He missed the 3. Still not over, but it's a long way to go. Here's Pruitt. Ball tipped away for a moment by Moreno, but he got it to Benham. Benham across the timeline for the Bisons, ahead of steam. Fakes the 3, inside to Pruitt. Moreno walls off and got the rebound. Moreno's had a good night with 16 points. 14 for Lewis, 13 for Blanton, 16 for Baligan, and 13 assists for Beverly. At Eastern Kentucky will snap a 4-game losing streak. And both teams will go 1-4. North Florida will be in here Saturday night. Lipscomb will go home to play Kennesaw State. Beverly for the double-double, and he got it to the goal. 11 points and 13 assists. 86-72 Eastern Kentucky. And a little body bump foul on Blanton with 7.1 to go.
Boy, how good has Beverly been? How good has Balogun been? How good has Moreno been? How good has Lewis been? I mean, they have really done the job tonight together. And
on the defensive end, they've held Asajala to 6 points, 11 and a half below his career, behind his season average, and almost 15 behind his ASUN average. The foul shot missed at Eastern Kentucky.